Hi Forestdale first graders, it's Ranger Hannah, and today we are going to do a little bit of review and comparing plants and animals. So we went over some of the needs of plants. This photo represents that plants need space to grow. This pond looks like a perfect space for lots of different types of plants to grow. I noticed some trees, some grasses, and even some aquatic plants. We also know that plants can grow in really small spaces, like pots. Now I want to think back to some of the needs of an animal. Where would you call an animal's space? Zainab, do you recall what we call a space that an animal lives? It's habitat. So animals and plants both need space. We call an animal's space its habitat. Now we also need to have water for plants. Do you know if animals also need water? I think they do. Let's see what else plants need. Jax, do you remember that plants need air? And Nicholas, what do you notice about this photo? What is it supposed to resemble? Looks like dirt, soil, and it contains the nutrients for plants. Now, Jax, do you remember where animals get their nutrients from? Animals and maybe even humans. So plants get it from the soil, and animals get it from food, just like we do. We get our nutrients from all of the different foods that we eat. Now there's one thing that plants definitely need that animals might not necessarily need. Now, Forestdale first graders, do you remember the difference? It is sunshine. Plants need sunlight. Now let's quickly go over the plant parts one more time, but this time I want you to all think about how these parts might help meet the needs of the plant. So we have the pretty petals, we have the big green leaves, we have the stem that connects the roots, the petals, and the leaves. Ooh, and I gave it away. We have the roots that ground the plants into the soil. And we have the seeds from which the plants start to grow. Here's another photo of seeds. So seeds, comparing those, the earliest part of life of a plant, to an animal. Let's think, do we remember, maybe do we even have anything in our virtual classroom that shows an early sign of growth or an early stage of life? I think I remember that this class has tadpoles. So come on, friends, let's go check out the aquarium. This aquarium is getting some sunlight. We have our water in there, and we also have this bubbler that provides oxygen and air. Where do you think these tadpoles and these aquatic plants are getting their nutrients? Does this aquatic plant get its nutrients from the soil, like a regular plant would? What about these tadpoles? Where do you think they're getting their nutrients? As an animal, I get my nutrients from food. So I want you to notice any of the differences from the tadpoles that we saw last video compared to these. They're the same tadpoles, but have they grown at all? Do you notice anything different about their habitat? Ooh, look at that one. Let's see if we can get a better look. what do you notice about the size of that tadpole compared to the one next to it? Now we also have added some things to the tadpole habitat. These are aquatic plants. We also added a rock. What do you think the need of adding aquatic plants and rocks are for this habitat? Some of our tadpoles are starting to grow legs, so they're going to need to be able to use their legs by climbing on this rock. Now these plants are super cool. Can you compare this aquatic plant to the plants we have over here, our tomato and zucchini plants? What are the needs of these plants versus the needs of those? And let's also think about how these aquatic plants are living in the same habitat as our tadpoles. Does that mean that they have similar needs? Let's take a closer look at this aquatic plant. Do you see its stem? What about its leaves? Do you notice any petals? Let's see if I can pick this plant up to notice its roots. If I followed the stem down, its roots happen to be tucked behind this rock. The roots are absorbing nutrients from the water to make this plant lush and green.